Hi, I'm Christine Weiser from Tech and Learning and Tech and Learning University, and welcome to Tech and Learning Conversations. This is where we're going to be interviewing experts from around the country about some of the issues facing K12 today. Today we're going to hear from Doug Levin, who is the founder of the K12 Cybersecurity Incident Map. And Doug's going to tell us a little bit about his map and ways that schools and districts can stay safe from cybersecurity incidents. So here's Doug. Thank you.
The site is now morphed into something I'm calling the K12 Cybersecurity Resource Center, the centerpiece of which is a map, the K12 Cyber Incident Map. And, you know, as you alluded to, I've worked in the arena of EdTech for quite a long time. And I started seeing news reports of cybersecurity incidents affecting schools. So denial of service attacks, but some phishing attacks and data breaches and ransomware incidents. But they were different than I had seen in the past or than I had really understood. And so I went looking to see, you know, who knew something about the state of K12 cybersecurity. Like, how bad are the risks? How frequently are school districts being affected by these incidents? Is it getting worse? Are school districts at risk just like banks and hospitals and other institutions, or is there something special about schools? And when I went looking, I couldn't really find information that answered my questions really well. That's not that there aren't some folks who write reports that talk about education, but they include public and private schools. They lump K-12 schools with colleges and universities, and maybe they're looking at the education sector globally. And, you know, for my world in particular, and for a lot of your world, I'm sure, you know, we're talking about US typical regular public schools, and that experience just didn't resonate. So in late 2016, I came up with the idea of maybe I'll just start compiling this stuff to see what I could learn. And I threw it up, and I thought it would be interesting to throw it up publicly, because I figured if I didn't know, other people didn't know. And to put it in the form of a map, because I think it was accessible to people. And then maybe it might be interesting, right? Because maybe some states are having more issues, or some localities are having more issues than others. And maybe there's a story in that. I didn't know until I started the work. And so I launched it in March of 2017, and I've kept it up to date till then. When I launched the map, I had cataloged maybe 100 or so incidents going back to the start of 2016. Last year, I had identified more than 340 incidents that had happened during the calendar year of 2019. And by incidents, I mean something that happened and affected a school district. And so it's a big number. I'm not surprised you're hearing from people out in the field that this is top of mind. So not only do the incidents seem to be happening more frequently, they seem to be getting more severe. Yeah. And school districts look like they're getting specifically targeted. Like, this isn't drive-by stuff like the Nigerian print scam that all of us get in our email boxes. These are people doing research on school districts and specifically trying to, you know, steal data, steal identities, and steal money. If you're an IT director or an IT staff, you may have a feeling like you're getting judged personally. Like somebody, like the administration may think it's a personal failing of yours. And I think what I found, it's kind of the most gratifying, is that some people whose incidents, like I have publicized on the map, like I read the story of this one woman who's an IT director in a school district, and she felt like I was piling on. She's like, it was the worst 2 weeks of my life. And then I saw this website and this map that I didn't know, and it's sharing information about what happened to us. And I'm like, really? Like, this is the worst 2 weeks of my life. A month goes by, and she's thinking about it. She goes, you know, like, I'm looking at this map. I'm not the only one. This is happening to school districts of all types, of all sizes around the country. Yeah. Like, maybe I shouldn't like, and by the way, big companies and governments, like, like it's not a personal failing. Like people with
Right.
way more resources than me are having issues.
Right.
Maybe I need to talk about it more and share my story and my experience and get people to do that as well. And because, we're only going to learn from each other if we share these
Right.
stories. And the other thing that I've seen in my work very clearly is that there are patterns to these incidents. Like if it's something driven by a criminal who's trying to conduct fraud against school districts, if it works in one school district, they just go right down the line and go after every other school district they can find. And so like it's sort of an inoculate. You could perform, if you share your stories, you could help inoculate everybody from this threat. Well, that's the funny thing about phishing, right? Is that, I mean, it is about human behavior. And there are people who think, oh, it could never happen to me.
Yeah.
No, I mean, time and again, like people get, there's an urgency to the message. You're distracted. Maybe it comes in on your phone and like your phone doesn't show you the same information that you would see on your computer.
Yeah.
But when you get that urgent message from the principal or the superintendent first thing in the morning that looks like it could be legitimate and you're tired or it's Friday at the end of the day, you just click it and you do it. And all it takes is, one person to download an attachment or to, enter in their account credentials into a phishing site and the whole district can go down. So it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive or time consuming to start. I think that's the first message. And it's really important to not let perfect be the enemy of like better.
Yeah.
And so if your goal is to try to identify and implement sort of new cybersecurity controls just a little bit better every day or every week, that should be the goal. I mean, there's no such thing as 100% security. So that's the first thing. So the goal is just trying to get better. So, one approach very much, has to do with handling credentials. So helping people to move from shorter passwords that are more widely shared to longer passphrases even that are unique to each type of account, maybe promoting the use of some free and open source password managers to help people manage their passwords, helping to move to single sign-on. So maybe people don't even have to remember all those passwords in the first place.
Yeah.
Those are all really positive steps. If you're, an IT director, trying to get a handle on your patching cadence. So when, folks, if you're a Microsoft shop and Microsoft comes out with their critical patches that, you're able to get those tested and implemented in a timely manner so you're not exposed. If you're running equipment that's no longer sort of being supported by the manufacturers in terms of security, making the case to the administration as to why that's important to get updated. I think awareness is a huge thing. So training and awareness, speaking to this earlier question about it being a people problem, helping educators and even members of the community, parents and students, get some skepticism about what to click on and what to look for and what scams are going around. And there's lots of sources they can draw on for that. And then I think the last thing that I would say to school district IT leaders looking to take a step would be backups. In many cases, that's the thing that can be your saving grace, if something goes wrong. And so, the sort of rule of thumb that a lot of people say is sort of the 3-2-1 rule, right? 3 backups, 2 different media, 1 sort of immutable offsite that's not connected live to your network. That will, save your bacon in many cases if your school district network is compromised, but not always, because the really sophisticated bad guys know that backups are the enemy of their, ability to disrupt your operations and might sort of dwell on your network for some time and try to get to your backups. But nonetheless, it's still the best advice is to follow that. So, that's where I would start. Now, certainly there's lots of ways to go, to do much more, but those sorts of basics would go a long way to helping, school districts avoid and avoid ending up on my map
Right.
as an incident, which I think is a decent goal. It's a decent
Right.
goal. I get no joy from adding people to the map.